people who are traumatized, not only physically, emotionally, but spiritually, because they know nothing about the ways of God and the importance of the ways of God. And they're so lost, and they're so discouraged, and they're so sad, and they're so miserable. That's why they're hitting the drugs. That's why they're hitting the alcohol. They still hit alcohol. And that's why they're doing things. Oh, the biggest thing that has become an addiction, and people are not seeing it as an addiction, is the use of technology, cell phones, computers, but the cell phone. Instant, I can see, instant gratification. Oh, yeah, you agree with what I say. I got all these likes. It went viral. Within a day's time, I had 1 million people watched what I said and did. It has become addiction. You can't get away from it. You don't want to get away from it. I saw when the teenagers went back to the school after 2 weeks of being absent, and they were walking past all these policemen there who came for their support and safety or whatever, everybody walking by had the cell phone, the buds in their ears, and they weren't even aware of what was going on around them. And that's probably one of the reasons why things happened the way they did. They didn't even notice somebody in need of attention. Somebody who noticed that I was struggling, somebody who noticed that I was down. And we need to notice this so we can be a friend. 1, 2, 3, you can count on me. How many are willing to be a real, true friend other than on the cell phone?
Yeah, what's strange is that people say that they prefer to that people nowadays are texting more than they actually talk, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, it's like people won't. They'll say, "I don't have time to take your phone call," but they have time to write endlessly with their stupid thumbs. And then,
Yeah.
how many times do you get into trouble because the tone of voice would help make a point safer than if you're just writing something? People think, oh, you must be mad at me, or oh, you must be this or that, because they're not hearing how you're intending what you're saying anymore. Yeah.
There was, I've got some interesting stories that go along with this. And pay attention, folks. This really is a true addiction, and it is going to be more and more bringing our society down and to no good because of the fact that it's going in the opposite direction of contact, personal touch, personal help. Carl, you did an awesome job when you posted that story about the person working at the restaurant who took the time to cut up the old man's meat, and somebody posted it. Now, see, there is good that can come out of these cell phone use and posting things. A lot of good. Otherwise, why bother to do the show we're doing, Radio Titans? A lot of good can come out of this, but there's also a lot of bad if we get too addicted to it. So here's where you can use your technology for good. There was the other thing. There are places, though, that are never supposed to have. You're supposed to have that cell phone in your purse, your pocket, leave it, and like when you're driving a car, it should be in the console or in the glove compartment. You shouldn't even have your cell phone where you can reach it. Just recently, there was in Arkansas 2 days ago, and I haven't heard more about it, but I can almost guess what it was all about. This truck started to drive erratically, going from one side of the road to another, and then it went off the road, and they tried to hit the brakes to keep from going off the road, hit a tree, exploded, and killed 2 people. And I wondered, were you trying to get a hold of your cell phone? I know what happens to me when I am reaching for something or even touching the thing in the middle to get the temperature raised or something like that. I notice the car wants to go where my eyes are leading. You don't drive, Carl, so you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the newer cars are so sensitive to even to look in another direction. It's like the car wants to follow where we're going, looking. So the other thing that I wanted to mention here, so you shouldn't have your cell phone active, or you should really have it turned off when you're at work, when you're at school. You can have it there with you, but you should have it on silenced, and even the vibration off, because it's texting. Oh, somebody's texting me. how many kids are actually getting an education because of the computer technology? There was this really cute cartoon talking about Zach. His teacher was saying he's got great homework and he's doing great homework, but for some reason he's not retaining what he's learning. And that's because Zach was getting all his answers off the computer and not really caring. He's just copy paste, or getting the answers off and writing it down. He really wasn't studying. He was, do you understand what I'm saying, Carl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same thing with the communication. We can text all we want to, but when we text, we're not you don't hear the voice. And you could come across a lot differently than what you meant for it to come across. Carl and I have had problems with this in our communications on the messenger, because it sounds like I'm angry, or it sounds like he's angry, or I'm being critical, or something like that, when we weren't. And I've had problems with other people too, saying that, hey, that's not called for, that's not appropriate. And I'm going, wait a minute, what's going on here? And it's just simply because you don't hear the sound of the person's voice when you're talking to them. Cell phone use again. Church is one another place that you shouldn't have your cell phones. Leave it in the car. I mean, once upon a time, folks, our communication was attached to a wall and to a cord. There was a wire involved. Now everything's wireless. But the other day, we went to a healing service, and we were waiting in line for the priest to come down and pray with each and every person. He was praying with each and every person. And this one lady started to get she was right next to Bob. There was two of them. Cell phones came out as we started searching for and doing a little surfing on that cell phone. And I thought to myself, you are here to be healed. You want to be touched by God, and yet you got that golden calf in your hand. God was present there in the church. We had the sermon the priest gave at that service was the real presence of God there at church. The real presence there on the altar. And we're just not getting it. And Romans chapter 11 and Romans chapter 10 all talking about the fact that the types of people, it's like here in 17 of 11, if some of the branches were broken off and you're a wild olive shoot, do not boast against the branches. That's what it's talking about, the different shoots of the branches and how we as Christians can do that with the churches. It says, branches were broken off so I might be grafted in. They're broken off because of unbelief, but you are there because of faith. Do not become haughty, but stand in awe. For if God did not spare the natural branches, he will not spare you either. It's just really complicated to read. You need to read all three of these chapters so you can get a big idea about God dealing with not only the different religions, but the different types of people, and how in his mercy. And verse 25, I do not want you to be unaware of this mystery, brothers, that you will not become wise in your own estimation. Talking about the hardening has come upon Israel in part, and in the Gentiles. But Jesus, the deliverer, will come out of Zion, and he will turn away godlessness from Jacob. And this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. God in his mercy, no matter how hard-hearted we get, no matter how much we turn away from him, all we have to do is say, God, help me. Have mercy on me. Lord, if you're there, help me in my misery. Help me in my boredom. Help me in my depression. Help me, oh God. Help me. And he will come. He will show up. Chapter 12 took Bob and I to the duties of Christians and the fact that we are all one body in many parts. And so we have, in this world, we have people behaving badly, but we still have people in this world who are behaving with loving kindness and goodness and mercy. And thank God for that. And I'm not even talking about somebody that's Christian. That's not, if you're human and if you're doing good, if you're loving, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Jewish people, even the Muslims, the Spanish, the Koreans, everybody of the body of on this earth, we are one body. And as long as we're given this mutual love, let love be sincere, it says. Hate what is evil. Hold on to what is good. Love one another with mutual affection and anticipate one another in showing honor. Do not grow slack in zeal. Be fervent in spirit and serve the Lord. And if you are a person out there who's got this thing, I don't like this God thing, then serve, choose to serve peace and love and goodness and kindness, and may that be your priority, living every day. Rejoice in hope, endure any affliction that comes, persevere in thinking good. In prayer, it says. Prayer is just talking to God. So if you just want to think and talk thoughts of goodness and kindness and love and encouragement and say things that are good and kind and encouraging, then go forth and do that. Bless those who persecute you, and bless and do not curse them. Oh, my goodness. Wonder what our news would be like if we were blessing those who persecuted us.
Yeah, no kidding.
And even on Facebook. Bless him, Lord. Help him out. He just don't know what he's doing instead of...
Yeah, that's a great idea. But also, I want to say there's a guy... and I'll just say his name because I think I think he's fine with having it known. Because I had to see myself if there's an update on what he's done. It's a beautiful idea. His name is Daniel Kaufman, Kaufman. It's an old friend of mine.
I think I read that. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, what he did was, I think he's an atheist, actually, but he shocked me by putting something really beautiful on Facebook about a week ago. He said, I'm walking through LAX airport, and I decided today to consciously wish love upon everybody I see and to look at them with the best of intentions of absorbing their humanity and looking at them as these are good people, I wish you love, kind of a thing, very consciously. And he said that it was just a powerful experience to do that, even through a walk through the airport. He said, I think we're going to keep trying this. And then I encouraged him and I shared it, and I forgot to follow up. But yeah, I'd be interested to see if he keeps it up. But I think that's a really good idea, whether you're a Christian or not. A lot of our audience obviously is Christian, or we're trying to help you look into that. And I think that that's something that if you add it in a Christian intent, it's even stronger,
Yes. And just like it talks to us in the scripture to do this, if we're supposed to go forth and spread the good news, you've got to first start with spreading goodness, encouraging words, kind words. You can't just go out, do you know Jesus loves you? That's not going to work. You're going to turn people away before you even get one word more out of your mouth. But if you were to say to someone, I hope you're having a good day today. I remember after Hurricane Katrina and how many people were displaced and trouble, all the sadness that came from there, that we were just walking, going to a restaurant or something like that, and I saw some people, and I just said to them, I am so glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. You're walking, you're talking, you're dressed, and you're evidently going into the restaurant too. But you're okay, and it was good to know that because so many were not okay, and it bothered me that we weren't able to reach out and help the person in need. So the best thing I could do was to say, I'm so glad you're okay, and it's good to see you. It's good to see your smile, and I still, do that. Go forth every day just to say words that will make a person feel good. Everybody wants to be noticed. And the cell phone is not the way to notice somebody else. Like, what difference would it made in those 17 people's lives who were taken if people noticed somebody who was not okay and needed an encouraging word, needed someone to say, hey, you look like you're down and things are going bad for you, but hey, I'll listen. Tell me what's going on. The greatest gift we can give is to be a listener. Oh, yes, indeed, a listener. You see somebody who has a sour look on their face or a troubled look on their face, hey, you okay? And just give them the opportunity to talk and then listen. It's important. People behaving badly are going to be with us always. But God is counting on each and every one of us to use